music industry doesn't care about your talent. When I started making music, everyone told me the same thing. Make great tracks and the rest will follow. The labels will find you, the bookings will come. Just focus on the music. And I believed that for years, and it almost destroyed my career. I've been in the music industry for 20 years. I've had over 50 releases, performed in more than 20 countries. If I could go back and talk to myself on day one, I would say music was never the problem. Everything around it was. So here are 10 things that nobody warned me about. And some of these are going to make people really uncomfortable. Number 1, and that is what costs me the most. Read the contract. I know it sounds obvious, but I promise you, 90% of music producers sign their first deal. Do not get past page 2. When you're 19 years old and a label sends you a contract, you're not thinking about loyalty or royalty splits. You're not checking exclusivity clauses. You don't even know what a publishing deal means. You're just excited to get your name on a release. And that's exactly what they're counting on. I've seen music producers sign their masters for absolutely nothing. I've seen guys locked into years where they can't release anywhere else. I've seen contracts where the label owns your artist name, your name, and you agree to it because you were too excited to question anything. If you can't afford a lawyer, that's fine. But find someone who understands the basics, because the excitement of your first release should not cost you years of your career. But even if you read every contract perfectly, there's something else that will hold you back way longer. This one took me years to accept, and honestly, part of me still hates it, because your music is only half of the game. I was the guy in the studio for 12 hours a day, thinking if I just make the best kick, if my sound design is better than everyone else, the people will find me. They'll hear it, they'll come, but they didn't. I've watched music producers with half my skill get 10 times more bookings. For a long time, I thought the industry was broken, but it wasn't. I just didn't understand the rules. The game is 50-50. 50% music, 50% everything else. Content, networking, branding, showing up, being visible, not because the music doesn't matter. It matters more than anything. But nobody can support what they can't find. Best track in the world means nothing on a hard drive nobody knows about. And once you accept that, the next realization, it's even harder, and that is number 3. This one is going to bother some people, but it needs to be said. Labels are businesses. They're not your friends. I'm not saying every label is bad. Some are great. But you need to understand what you're dealing with. A label is a business that makes money from your music, and that's it. They didn't sign you because they believe in your potential as a person. They signed you because they think
your music will sell.
And the moment it doesn't sell, you will find out really quick how much they
believed in you.
I've seen labels promise promotions that never came. I've seen them sit on tracks for months, never release them. But the contract says you can't release anywhere else either. I've seen labels take 50, 60, 70% of streaming revenue for your music that you make in your studio, with your equipment, with your time. So ask the question, what's the split? Who owns the masters? What happens if I want to leave? How long is the deal? And what exactly are you doing for this percentage? If they get annoyed with those questions, that tells you everything you need to know. But labels aren't the worst ones. There's a different type of person in this industry that's way more dangerous. And I wish someone told me this when I was starting out. There are people in this industry whose entire business model is you being desperate. I'm not naming names, but you know the type. The manager who wants 20% but does absolutely dog shit. The promoter who asks you to play for free because it's good exposure. The guy who wants to collab but really he just wants you to make the track for him. And when you're new and hungry, you say yes to everything. These people, they can smell it. They find you before you even know what you're worth. So here's the rule that I had from day one. If someone's getting more out of the deal than you are, it's not a deal, it's a favor. And you should always know the difference between doing someone a favor and being played. The worst part, you can't even complain about it publicly. Because number 5, everyone talks, and I mean everyone. Music industry, especially in this niche scene, is basically a small town. You think nobody notices when you talk about another artist, when you bill out of a commitment, when you're a completely different person online than you are backstage? They will notice and they will remember. I've seen careers quietly get killed. Not publicly, nobody tweets about it, but suddenly the booking stop, the label emails go unanswered, and the person has no idea why. Protect your reputation like it's your most valuable asset, because after 20 years, I can tell you it is. Speaking of the things the industry doesn't want you to see, number 6. If you watched my video about ghost production, you already know part of this, but this goes way deeper. Ghost production isn't an underground secret. It's a full industry. I don't have to tell you that there are a lot of artists headlining festivals right now who never opened FL Studio, Ableton, Logic Pro in their life. And the labels know that. The booking agencies know that. The promoters know that. Nobody gives a because the product sells. And the harsh truth, the industry doesn't reward who made the music, it rewards who can sell the music. And once I understood that, I had two choices. Get frustrated and complain, or get strategic and build something they cannot take away from me. That's why I started Nearest Productions. That's why I started teaching. That's why I built a community around me with real producers who are trying their best every day. It's the one thing ghost producers cannot sell is your identity. But here's another truth in this industry that no one likes to hear, especially if you're counting on streaming money. It's number 7. And that is the one that's going to hurt if you're still waiting for that Spotify check, because don't count on streaming revenue ever. A hardstyle track or an uptempo track, a hardcore track that does really well on Spotify might get 500,000 streams. That sounds good, right? But that's maybe 1,500 to 2,000 euros for a track you took months or weeks to make. And that is considered a hit. But most tracks don't even come close. The producers who are actually making a living in 2026 are not living off streams. They're teaching, they're selling sample packs, one-on-one lessons. They found other ways. The ones who sit around and wait for their streaming checks are usually the ones who quit. Don't build your career on one platform that pays you a fraction of a cent. Even if you figured out the money, there's something else that almost took me out completely. And nobody in this industry talks about it. And it's the one that I almost didn't include. Burnout almost ended my career. There was a point in 2016 when I was touring, producing, keeping up with social media, dealing with label stuff, managing bookings, and I hated every part of it. Not the music, I never hated the music, but everything around it was draining the hell out of me. The worst part is you're supposed to be grateful. You're supposed to be living the dream, right? Everything on social media is great. The fame, the traveling, the money. But when you're exhausted and miserable, you don't say anything. You don't post it on social media because who wants to hear a DJ complain about traveling the world? But it's real. The bad sleeps, the late night, the flights, the pressure to always be on. The constant feeling that if you slow down for 1 second, someone's going to take your spot. If you're feeling that now, you're not weak. You're human. The sooner you build your career in a way that doesn't require you to destroy yourself, the longer you'll actually last. And that brings me to probably the most important lesson I've learned in 20 years. That is number 9. If you only remember one thing from this video, then make it this one. Build something they can't copy, because your sound can be copied. Your techniques can be learned. Your plugins can be bought by someone with a credit card, but your identity, why you do this, the way you show up, that's yours. Nobody can buy that. Nobody goes produce that. The artists who last 10, 15, 20 years in this industry are not always the most talented. Absolutely not. But they're the ones who built the strongest identity. You'll hear their names and you know exactly what they're about. I spent too many years trying to sound like other people, chasing trends. That's what I see a lot in the scene lately, trying to fit in what the scene wanted from me. But the moment I stopped doing that, learned what made me different, everything changed. And that's the whole reason I built the artist development program, not just to teach people music production, but to help them figure out who they actually are as an artist. Because the music is the foundation, but your identity is what makes it last. And the last one, and this is the one I could go back and tell the 90-year-old me, that's number 10. And this is the one that would have saved me the most pain. This takes way longer than you think. Social media has completely destroyed our sense of time. You'll see someone blow up in 6 months and think that's normal, but it's not. It took me years to get my first release, more years to get my first booking, even more to tour international, and then even more to realize that touring wasn't even what I wanted to do. 20 years, that's how long it took me to figure out what I actually wanted to do with my career. I'm actually still figuring it out. So if you're 1 year in and frustrated, good, that means you care. Don't quit because your timeline doesn't match with someone else's Instagram. The people who win in this industry are not the most talented. They're the ones who didn't stop. Those are 20 years of lessons in 10 minutes. And honestly, I could do 10 more. Actually, I might, because there's a whole side of it that I didn't even get into. The royalty scams, the publishing traps, what really matters, backstage at festivals. If you want that video, tell me in the comments right now. And if you missed my video about ghost production, that one connects directly what I just talked about today. Watch that next.